I want to thank everybody again who's made this possible so far today. And this day has, as you heard, taken a lot of work. We also wanted to thank, again, Connor for running the sound today. Connor actually ran our sound a couple of years ago at Santa Clarita United Methodist, where his mother, a good friend of mine, Melissa, was the pastor and she's now the superintendent for the whole region. But Connor's a wonderful young man and comes from a great family too. And so thank you, Connor, for helping us today. The whole move to being online is pretty new for us. But I want to take you back to that moment. I'll take you back to Friday night, March 13th, 2020. This is a Friday the 13th scary tale, because we were looking to celebrate, it's Friday the 13th, we were looking forward to celebrate Shabbat that night at Beth Ami. And then LA County issued a new stay-at-home order about 4 hours before services were supposed to start. So we canceled services at Beth Ami for the first time ever in 21 years of me being there. For the first time, no matter what, in 21 years, we've always had a service, always, whether I was there or not, but not that night. We went dark. But we missed one Friday night service. The next week, we were up with a Shabbat service that featured the voices of Cantor Kenny Ellis and Alyssa Rosenbaum, who's now the cantor at Temple Sinai in Glendale. We're proud of her and her growth. And it wasn't just those voices. We had my daughter Dina's friend Isabella. She sang, and we know her as Iggs. She sang on that, one of the first Friday night services. And then you heard voices that you might not have heard before, but now have become familiar for us here at Temple Beth Ami. We had Todd Herzog, you heard from Arizona. We had Joe Buchanan from Texas. We had Nefesh Mountain from New Jersey, Josh Nelson from New York, Rebbe Soul from the Bay Area. Friday night, March 20th, we were connecting to people virtually for Shabbat with our community, and now with literally thousands of people who had never visited or even heard of Temple Beth Ami before. And we didn't miss a beat with our classes. The very next week, literally days later, we were ready to go on Zoom with our Tuesday Midrash class and our Wednesday Torah study. Studying connected to our holy texts and to, again, people all around the country, our family and friends, people who had moved out of town, but were now able to be with us through, again, these ancient texts being brought to life by the most modern and technologically advanced ways. And this was not easy, because we hadn't even dipped our toes into this technology. I love tech. Everyone will tell you, I had the first iPhone. I had iPads, and I'm a big Apple person, but I just love technology. But I never brought technology into the synagogue because, quite frankly, a little traditional, but also I don't like glitches. And I know that we have enough glitches just being humans. I didn't need to have technological glitches too. And we had one last night. And so we really didn't do a lot at Temple, but we were way behind when it came to using technology and streaming at our place. But most important at our community, we want to always establish connections. And we believe that continuity, especially now, was most important. We wanted people to know that we were going to be there, that we weren't going to go dark, that we were committed to providing some semblance of stability and normalcy in the midst of a whole lot of craziness, fear, panic, and uncertainty. Look, we've learned a lot about ourselves, our families, our society. During this pandemic, we've learned a lot. But one of the most powerful truths that we've learned is that we need to be connected to others. Somehow, some way. Humans need other humans. As Edward Everett Hale said, life seeks life. Here's the funny thing. The Jewish people have always known this. You can't be a Jew alone. You can't live a Jewish life by yourself. You can't celebrate the Jewish year without a community. You can't study Torah without a chavruta, without a mate, a partner. You can't be a Jew in isolation. It just won't work. That's not true of all faiths or philosophies. Can you imagine a Jew taking a vow of silence? The covenant we read about in the Torah is between God and the people, not an individual. Look at the prayers that we say during the high holidays. They're always in the plural form. Us, we. The people Israel. We just started a committee at Temple Beth Ami to work on the future of what Beth Ami will look like, where it will be, to look at possibly finding a new home for Beth Ami. And so we're asking, what do we think the future of our synagogue is going to be? And people ask me, do you think we'll ever be able to build that dream facility? Almost weekly. And I'll tell you the answer, everybody right now. It depends. It depends on what we're willing to do in that place and what we're willing to strive to become in that place. This is the question, the central question that we have in this community, and for that matter, for every synagogue. And there's a lot of questioning going on in synagogues right now across the country. Because the question that synagogues normally ask, how many new members can we bring in? How many dollars can we bring in? What kind of dues are we going to collect? What's the appeal going to look like? Those are important. Those are valid and vital questions. But they're not the most important question. The most important question, everything depends on what we can do to create a healing place and a holy place. A place where people can join together to do teshuvah, not just today on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but every single day. So we can lead better, saner, more human, and more humane lives. If people will learn to look upon our place, Beth Ami, as a holy place, as a place where they can repair the broken pieces of their souls, as a place where they can join with others who are also like-minded and on a journey towards a saner and nobler life, people will continue to join, and they will pay dues, and they will contribute to any fundraising campaign, and they'll feel privileged and grateful to do so. 13 years ago, I first spoke at High Holidays about a new organization that was just starting up called Family Promise. The people who started Family Promise were actually from this church, from Valencia United Methodist, and they reached out to me. And for those who don't remember or don't know, Family Promise is a local faith-based response to homelessness. And I asked for your support in allowing homeless families to live at our facility, to live at Temple Beth Ami for 1 week each quarter, every about 3 months. That we would house them and feed them and clothe them and help the parents get back on their feet and the children go to school. It was crazy. Well, Temple Beth Ami responded, and Beth Ami became one of the founding congregations, host congregations for Family Promise. And some of you here went well beyond. Many of you hosted and stayed overnight, and I did every time we hosted because I wasn't going to ask you to do anything I wasn't willing to do. A lot of you stayed overnight for a night at our temple with these families as a chaperone. But some people, one of them who's not here now because she's in college, but I'm looking at her dad right now. What? Kayla's here? Oh, she is here. I see her parents. I saw her mom. Kayla, she reached out to Family Promise and created, I see her right there. She's home from college, from Oregon. She did her gold award project for Girl Scouts for Family Promise. It's amazing. 11 years ago, I came and I asked this synagogue, this community, I asked for your support and your help in battling addiction. And I know there's a community within our community that is often marginalized. And once again, Beth Ami responded. And since that time, over 10 years ago, Beth Ami has held literally hundreds of support groups at our facility. Until this pandemic, there was hardly a night that there wasn't a 12-step group using Temple Beth Ami. Now, some of you don't know that. Some of you don't know that that's been going on. 6 years ago, I asked for your help to make sure that Beth Ami would be willing to do its part in supporting mental health in our community. And once again, you responded. And we provided a space for the NAMI group, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They eventually had 2 groups meeting at Beth Ami. And it grew so strong that they could take on a bigger location. And the San Fernando Valley chapter of NAMI is now known as the San Fernando Valley Santa Clarita chapter. That was Beth Ami that helped make that happen. Now, I want to tell you something. During this pandemic, almost everything I just talked to you about has been unplugged. Not just from Temple Beth Ami, but from our entire community. Where did these groups go? How are they adjusting? It's not been easy. We have lost so much more than lives during this pandemic. But ironically, in this time of terrible loss, terrible devastation, Beth Ami created a new group. That's right. Just 2 months ago, we began hosting a grief and loss support group led by the amazing Joyce Schulman, who's here this morning. It meets every Tuesday. And with the exception of tonight, this vitally important new group has fast become a powerful community within our community. If you want to join in this group, see me or see Joyce, who's here. She's a shining light. Now, there's no question that I get recognition for helping facilitate these projects. But in every single case, there were individuals who brought the need for these projects, for these groups, to my attention. And while I get my hands dirty, every single program I mentioned, every single one, my effort was a pitiful fraction of the time and work that was done at our temple. Meaning there were a whole lot of volunteers who helped out. And I want to tell you, oftentimes it's the member of our board, member of a board that is already working hard that will step up and help with these things. Opening up doors, making sure the lights are on for a group. And in particular, Harvey, who just met, he's been helping to open up and make sure the place is ready to go for our new healing group, which is the only group we have that's meeting at our temple right now. Because of our concern for the safety and for the health of people right now, that's it. That's the only group that's meeting in our temple. But Harvey isn't just opening the doors, he's literally doing the gardening. He's literally planting stuff all around the temple to make it look more beautiful. And in addition to that, he's been working with our bookkeepers, helping direct the finances for our congregation, helping, as you heard, to get those SBA loans, which took a lot of work. He's doing everything, including, by the way, moving furniture with me last week as we cleaned out a whole lot of stuff from the temple. If you haven't seen, there was a whole lot of stuff that was accumulating in our synagogue, and it's all gone. And I want to tell you that Harvey took over during this pandemic just a few months ago from Lori Lytell, the previous president, who's still on our board and is still very active. And Lori brought in a whole career of working in nonprofit. And she has been an amazing president and not only a very generous part of our fundraising and appeals, giving with her own time and money. But she has helped us all along for these last few years in figuring out how to have the best practices for a nonprofit. She, again, just retired this last beginning of September and is, again, committed to helping this transition our Beth Ami community through this time. And again, as I joked about, we had a very smooth transition of office from Lori to Harvey. No problems, no recounts, no any bad feelings. They worked together beautifully. But in all seriousness, I want to tell you something. This is serious. That doesn't always happen in synagogues or nonprofits. Sometimes the previous president resents the new president and vice versa. These people have been amazing at working together, Harvey and Lori. And I want to tell you that also happened with our previous president, Don Kogan, and his wife Cheryl, who are both still on the board and both have contributed in many ways, in membership, and Don has also led our astronomy. We're hoping that when the time is right, we're going to get people back out under the stars for a Havdalah that Don's been able to do. And Don was the person who introduced us to Michael. Michael, by the way, came to us and came to our temple. People don't know this because we also hosted Toastmasters at our synagogue, too, one of the other groups that we have meeting at our temple in a normally healthy time. Michael, by the way, one very interesting thing about Michael, 45 years ago, worked with my father at KVFM in the Valley. And now he says, now I'm working with you. It's amazing. It's as we say in Italian, it's Bashert. And he is the guy behind the cameras right now. So again, we met him through Don. And I also we have another husband and wife team on our board over the last couple of years, Richard and Jen Twitchell, who have done so much for education. Richard's also helped us get the Ark and all this stuff set up so that we could be here. He just almost cut off his fingers, honestly, 2 weeks ago with a saw, and yet he got his fingers attached and he was carrying the Ark, helping carry the Ark. I can't make this stuff up. And I also want to recognize another one of our newer members of our board, Sheila Petrie, who not only comes out for every event and is a very generous donor to things. Everything we want to do, she says, let me pay for that. Let me fund it. She also brings her whole family. She brings Scott and Sarah and Sammy to everything to help along and to help move stuff and to move, help throw stuff out. And one of our other new members of our board, Joanne Shepard, has just became a new member and said, I want to help out with the membership committee and make sure I can welcome people to the members. Is Joanne here today? No, where is she? She's over there. Joanne was the one who also made sure that we had live in-person services. She never stopped. I was going to say, if she's not here today, that would be fairly ironic because she demanded that we have in-person services. So I want to thank Joanne for not giving up on that. And Nancy Troxel Carnahan, who's now on our board, who's a longtime realtor in the Valley, and she's chairing up our committee looking at possible locations. And she also brings a lot of experiences. She was just the president of the LA Valley, San Fernando Valley Board of Realtors, and so she has a wealth of connections and contacts and networking. And I also want to tell you, Neil Scott, who's a new member of our board, and Neil and Haiti, who own Neely's Skillet. We've had a few events there. They're also going to be catering our break fast coming up. So we're going to have information at the end of Yom Kippur. We're going to have our break fast back at Temple. And they've been so brilliant at figuring out how to do events outside, whether it's Taco Tuesdays at their place, but also the barbecues we had over the summer at our place. And I want to tell you, one of our other newest members who's watching us out of town right now, but he'll be with us for Yom Kippur in person, is Philip Wasserman, who's an attorney and who's already helped us try to figure out some of the ways that we can legally comply with laws and mandates as they're changing, as they're even, adapting almost monthly to whatever health ordinances come out. So we have amazing people who are part of our board. But it's not just our board members. It's people who are chairing committees, our sisterhood. It's been led by my wife and Judith Stolnitz, who made sure that we could have these beautiful boxes for the holidays, and we have some great stuff coming up for Sukkot, wine and cheese. The sisterhood is going to be putting together the women's retreat during this coming year, which we couldn't have the last couple of years, and we want to make sure that God willing we'll be able to have it. There's information about the women's retreat coming up, and it's It's very limited, too. There's only about 6 or 7 places, right, for people to come. So please let us know about that. And again, people who are just volunteering, who figure out a way to plug in and literally plug in. Mike Schwartz helped us get our computers up and running. We brought in a new computer system and working with some of the transitions we had to make. And he also, for example, helped deliver. We had a lot of people that helped deliver those boxes. And Tim and Marcia Davis, who we've exiled into the other room there, they're sitting over there behind the glass. Tim and Marcia helped throw out a lot of stuff. They liked throwing out stuff. If you want stuff thrown out at your house, they'll come over and throw away stuff. They'll throw away everything. Anyways, and also, I was thinking about this. Joyce and Jeff Stein, they just moved back to the community. We're very lucky to have Jeff and Joyce back. Joyce was president for like 6 or 7 years. I mean, we finally realized it was a dictatorship. And then there was a coup. No, there's not. Because we love Joyce. And Joyce actually, while she was in Colorado, would update our Facebook page. Like, people don't know that. She put things out. It wasn't stuff we asked for, but it was stuff we asked for. But thank you, Joyce. And you're probably watching somewhere right now. And Rosemary Watson, who's watching up north right now, I'll only say this. She's an anonymous donor. That's all you need to know about Rosemary Watson. There's so much that she's done. And in the midst of having such a difficult year, terrible loss that she had to suffer this year with the loss of her beloved David, that she continued to stand by our synagogue. Again, why did I talk about this today? Because Harvey talked about the time and the effort that we need. These are amazing people who work together. It's not always the case at synagogues to have a board and to have the kind of people that we have. If we are going to continue to meet the challenges of these crazy days, and because of them, and maybe in spite of them, do an even better job of creating a sacred home. Beth Ami is not a social club. It's a Kehillah Kedoshah. It's a holy community that takes Torah seriously. And we take the law that's found 36 times in the Torah. People focus on laws of the Torah. Focus on this law, mentioned 36 times in the Torah, to take care of those in need, to help the homeless, the widow, the orphan, to help those in need. And so wherever we are, we will be the highest and the strongest, the holiest versions of ourselves as we reflect the light of our whole community. May each of us be the kind of person, and may this synagogue always be the kind of place that does not sit back and wait for people who are in pain to come in and ask us for help. But let us be a community that reaches out to those in need with an open hand and an open heart. And so we're going to ask you to help keep open the doors, to help keep our synagogue as a place where our brothers and sisters who really need a place, a sanctuary, to be a community that cares, in which people will share in each other's joys and sorrows and create a sense of family for those who need our help. This is the essence of our way of life, to understand that we are bound up with each other, and therefore we need to care about each other in good times and in tough times as well. We pray that this year will be filled with a whole lot more good times. May this be a year filled with health, well-being, and peace. Please, stay healthy, stay safe, stay connected. As we pray that we be a Kehillah Kedoshah, a holy community, we have a special song, Kehillah Kedoshah. You can find it in your song sheet on the top of page 3. And we're going to ask our ushers to go around. I know we have some envelopes that you have on your seats, and this is our song of, again, those who are at home. You can actually do this from your phone. As you heard, Harvey said you can actually text TBA EDU. You type 41444. You shouldn't do it in synagogue because we don't want you to think about it. That's why we pass around envelopes. But if you're at home, you can type 41444 and then type TBA EDU, and it goes directly to education. It directly goes to our kids, to making sure that this year, as you heard, that The dollars that we raise are going to go to making sure that Hebrew school, religious school, will be free this year and next year, that not $1 needs to be spent. No one will ever say that they had to pay in order to get a Jewish education for their children. So we're asking you to give for that. And as you heard, every dollar that you donate this year will be matched, every dollar, for education, for whatever, by an anonymous donor. So take a moment, think about that now as we hear this song, Kehillah Kadoshah, from Dan Nichols, a holy community, a holy community.